Loneliness after retirement, what no one prepares you for. Retirement is often described as freedom, more time, less stress, long mornings, unhurried afternoons. And for many people, it is those things. But there's another side that people don't talk about nearly enough. The quiet shift that happens when the structure of work disappears. Welcome. Come on in, get comfy, and let's sit for a while. Today we're talking about something that many people experience but few people say out loud. Loneliness after retirement. Not because retirement is bad, but because it changes more than we expect. For years, sometimes decades, work provides a rhythm to life. You wake up with purpose, there's somewhere to go, people to see, conversations that happen naturally throughout the day. You don't have to plan those interactions, they just happen. Morning greetings, little jokes in the corridor, complaints about the weather, shared cups of tea. It may not always feel meaningful in the moment, but it quietly anchors your day. Then one day, that rhythm stops, and suddenly the day stretches out, wide and quiet. At first, retirement can feel wonderful. You sleep longer, you enjoy slow mornings, you do the things you've never had time for. You tell people, I'm loving it, and often you are. But somewhere, after those first weeks or months, a subtle change can begin. The novelty fades. The days become less distinct from each other, and you realise something unexpected. You miss people. It's not always the big friendships people miss. Often it's the small ones, the everyday conversations, the quick chats that required no planning, no arranging, no scheduling, just natural interaction. When those disappear, something shifts. Because human beings are social creatures, even the quiet ones, even the independent ones. Connection matters more than we realise. Work doesn't just give us structure, it also gives us identity. For many years when someone asked, "What do you do?" you had a clear answer. Teacher, builder, nurse, manager, driver, administrator. Those roles shaped how you saw yourself. And when that role ends, a surprising question can appear. Who am I now? It's not a crisis, but it's an adjustment. Because identity doesn't disappear overnight, it slowly reshapes itself. Another quiet change is this. Your social circle shifts. Some friends are still working. Their schedule remains busy, their days structured, their evenings limited, and suddenly you find yourself with time when others don't. You might suggest meeting, they say, maybe next month. Not because they don't care, because their rhythm is different. And that difference can feel surprisingly lonely. There's also the physical quiet. A house that once felt like a resting place between busy days becomes the place where the whole day happens. The silence becomes more noticeable, the hours slower, sometimes peaceful, sometimes heavier. That contrast can take time to adjust to. What people rarely say is this: retirement isn't just a lifestyle change, it's a life transition. And transitions always involve adjustment, emotionally, socially, even psychologically. None of that means something is wrong. It simply means something has changed, and change takes time to settle. Loneliness after retirement is far more common than people admit, but it's rarely spoken about openly. Because retirement is supposed to be wonderful, relaxing, rewarding. So when loneliness appears, people sometimes feel ashamed of it. as if they're doing retirement wrong. But loneliness is not failure. It's simply a signal, a reminder that human connection matters. There's an important distinction here. Solitude can be peaceful, restful, comfortable. Many people enjoy their own company, a quiet morning, a book, a slow cup of tea. But loneliness feels different. Loneliness often isn't about being alone. It's about feeling disconnected. You can be alone and content, or surrounded by people and still feel lonely. The difference is connection. When we're working, social interaction happens automatically. You don't have to think about it. You show up, you greet people, you chat in passing. But after retirement, those interactions no longer happen naturally. And suddenly something new is required. Initiative. You have to reach out, suggest meeting, join something, start conversations in new places. That can feel surprisingly difficult, especially if you haven't had to do it for years. Social confidence is like a muscle. If it hasn't been used in a while, it needs gentle exercise again. There is real courage in starting again socially. Walking into a new group, joining a club, attending a class where you don't know anyone, it can feel vulnerable, even a little intimidating. But many people in those spaces are feeling exactly the same thing. They're also hoping someone will smile, start a conversation, sit beside them. Sometimes the bravest thing we can do is simply show up. Here's something many retirees discover eventually. Retirement can also create space. Space to meet different people. People outside your old work environment. People who share interests rather than job roles. Book clubs, walking groups, volunteer projects, art classes, community groups. These spaces can create connections that feel surprisingly rich, because they're built around shared curiosity instead of obligation. There's another truth people don't always mention. Rebuilding connection doesn't happen overnight. Friendships take time. Familiarity takes repetition. You might attend something once and feel unsure. Attend again and recognise a face. Attend again and have a conversation. Connection grows slowly, but slowly doesn't mean unsuccessfully. It simply means human. Sometimes connection doesn't come from dramatic changes. It comes from small, consistent moments. A regular walk where you see the same people. A weekly class. A cafe where the staff begin to recognise you. Those tiny threads of familiarity weave something meaningful over time. Belonging often grows quietly. The most important thing to remember is this. Loneliness after retirement is not permanent. It's a phase of adjustment, a space between identities, a moment where the old structure has ended but the new one hasn't fully formed yet. That space can feel uncertain, but it is also full of possibility. After retirement, there comes a moment when something quietly shifts. At first, you may spend time looking backwards, missing the rhythm of work, missing familiar faces, missing the sense of being needed every day. But slowly, almost without noticing, another question begins to appear. Not, what did I used to do, but what would I like this chapter to become? For many years, purpose came from work, responsibilities, deadlines, people relying on you. But purpose doesn't disappear when work ends. It simply changes shape. Purpose might now look like helping family, supporting neighbours, volunteering, sharing your knowledge, learning something new, It might be quieter, but it can be just as meaningful, sometimes even more so. One of the hidden gifts of retirement is choice. For the first time in decades, your time belongs to you. You can wake up without rushing. You can choose how the day unfolds. That freedom can feel unfamiliar at first, even unsettling. But once you begin shaping your days intentionally, something beautiful happens. Life becomes less about obligation and more about curiosity. Another powerful truth about this stage of life is the depth of experience you carry. You have lived, you have learned, you have survived things younger people haven't yet encountered. That wisdom matters. Sometimes the world moves so quickly that it forgets the value of lived experience. But communities need it, families need it, younger generations need it. Your voice still matters, perhaps now more than ever. One unexpected gift of this stage of life is the quality of connection. Work friendships are often built around shared tasks. But friendships formed later in life can be slower and deeper. You meet people through shared interests, shared values, shared curiosity. And those connections often grow into something very genuine because they are chosen, not simply convenient. If you are newly retired and feeling lonely sometimes, please know this. You are not unusual. You are not failing retirement. You are simply adjusting to a major life transition. And transitions take time. Just as it took years to build your working life, it takes time to shape the life that comes after it. Be patient with yourself during that process. Retirement is not the closing chapter. It's a turning of the page, a chance to ask different questions, to explore different rhythms, to connect with parts of yourself that were quietly waiting while life was busy. Some days will still feel quiet. Some days will feel uncertain. But many days will also feel peaceful, free, open with possibility. If you are navigating retirement and finding moments of loneliness along the way, be gentle with yourself. You are adjusting to the new rhythm of life, and new rhythms take time to learn. Connection can still grow. Purpose can still evolve. Joy can still appear in unexpected places. This chapter may be quieter than the last one, but quieter does not mean smaller. Sometimes the most meaningful seasons of life arrive when the pace finally slows. May your days feel peaceful, may new connections find their way to you, and may this next chapter unfold with gentleness and possibility. Thank you for sharing your time with me. Take gentle care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.